Next up is Tony McGeHee. Tony came to me with a podcast and an idea for a podcast agency that he wanted to start. And throughout the semester, his journey changed things a little bit, but I'll let him speak on that.
Thanks, Sam. So yeah, kind of like Sam said, so for the past year, since last June, had been hosting my own podcast, and it's crazy to see everything come full circle because two of the guys that I interviewed are sitting right there. Sam was my first guest ever on the podcast, so it's just crazy to see what's happened now. And so I came in at the beginning of Divergent U and really just had this idea for this agency, and I was like, I know this is what I want to do. Like, I know that Sam can help me because he's been in this spot before starting a business, and really felt like I was going to get a lot of value out of it for that reason. And I was just so set on this, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do at the end of 8 weeks. I'm going to be crushing it. Like, yep, this is it. And about 4 weeks in, I think it was about halfway through, I was just worn out. I just was not super connected with what I was doing, and made the ultimate decision to stop the podcast because at that point it really had just become more of a headache than anything, and it wasn't something that I was enjoying anymore. Little backstory about the podcast: I just started it last summer just because I was bored and didn't want to sit around. And so if you know anything about starting something that you're trying to do for a long time, if you don't have a strong reason behind it, it's going to be really hard to keep it going. So that's kind of what happened to me after a year. And me and Sam even talked about this. Like, it was surprising that it even went for a year. So still proud of that, but knew that it was time to move on. Really had this idea in the back of my head. Sam had asked me, he's like, so what's next? I was like, I don't know. And then about 5 seconds later, I told him everything that I had in my head. And so for the past 4 weeks, I've been working on this idea that I kind of had and really thought I would never revisit again until about week 2. For some reason, I was just talking with my classmates and would have never came back if it wasn't for them. Just somehow I remembered about it, that a while back I had this idea for creating escape rooms and having kind of like tournaments focused around escape rooms. And so started focusing on that again, because that was just something that really excited me and really thought that I could do. And so I started with the tournaments, hosting at a different location, and just logistically and monetarily it was something that was going to be really difficult, and came across something a couple weeks later that really was just going to be, you know, around the same exact focus, but it was something that was just much easier to pull off for me. And so still staying on the escape room path, and so looking now to create like at-home escape rooms that I can bring to people, like to their houses, birthday parties, corporate events, stuff like that. And then also like mail home escape rooms, so creating them, basically everything that can fit in a box that I can ship out to people's houses, and that's just something that they can do on a weekend with, you know, friends or family or whoever it is. And so really just focusing on creating really cool experiences for people based around escape rooms. And so that's what I'm working on now, and basically just to close this off, you know, it's never a bad time to restart if you think you're so far along in something that you can't turn back. You know, there's always time to turn back, and you can really do whatever you want. Just if it's not something that's bringing you happiness, really evaluate why that is. You know, maybe it's just a frustration that you're having at the time, and it's not something that, you know, it might still be something you're connected with. You're just frustrated with something at the time, and so obviously that's not something that you want to give up. You just need to push through that. But if it's something that is consistently bringing you pain rather than pleasure, then it's probably something that you need to let go. And you know, I'm just here to tell you that it's okay to let that go. So yeah, thank you to my classmates. Thank you so much.